Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another discussion. It is me, screaming into the void of the internet. I'm gonna get right into the topic. I had a discussion with someone that I'm friends with. We're not necessarily very, very close friends. We'll talk to each other like occasionally, every couple of weeks, months, that kind of friend. But we're on good terms. We don't, have bad blood with each other. But they're a very avid believer of a lot of New Age mysticism and stuff like that. And I guess it's not necessarily New Age. Most cultures did, believe in that. But they're very big on this reincarnation. And we kind of had a discussion about, karma and stuff like that and reincarnation. And, she linked me a video about this doctor in name only. I don't know how you can be a doctor on spirituality. That doesn't make sense to me. But, she essentially said all this, interesting and weird crap talking about the human body and the immune system and how it connects to freaking karma and stuff. But she was essentially, what got me is when this guy was asking her what would be why would anyone want to come back to this, and why would they want a say, why shouldn't they get a say in coming back to this? And she would, in typical fashion, like a freaking politician, just dance around this. And then when I asked my friend, her opinion, even she couldn't directly say why she should have to come back to this. And when I asked her if she would want to, she kept dancing around the issue. And I've always said, here's my question because listen, I do believe in Jesus Christ and the Bible and stuff like that, yeah. But I've never had a problem if someone confronts me on that, so long as they're doing it in a peaceful manner. If you're just being an arsehole, then it's different, I don't believe that debate is a good thing. I think discussion is good. I think if you don't really come trying to have your mind change, but you are willing to listen to someone else's perspective, because I don't think people should be willing to just change your minds on a dime. You should have some kind of grounds to stand on, even if the grounds are kind of crazy, but you should also be willing to accept reasons for why someone else stands on their grounds. But like I said, she couldn't give me a reason. The person that whose video I watched from her channel, that so-called doctor of mysticism, I don't know what the heck she was in. Maybe a combination of Hinduism and Buddhism, I don't know. I know that they are interconnected and stuff like that. But she couldn't give a reason about why, because this is mainly a discussion on reincarnation. And, this is why I think reincarnation, it would easily be, one of the worst hells that you could possibly put me through. The idea that you have no say and you have to constantly come back to this crap, especially this planet, because that's what she was saying. She was saying that you constantly come back to this planet specifically, right? It'd be different if you were on a different planet, because I've always said I'm not one of these freaking anime nerds by any means, because the whole genre is called isekai, and basically if you don't know what that is, it's basically where some nibber dies in his world, and then he gets reincarnated in another world, and usually he has a freaking harem, because it's usually meant to appeal to men, and most men think that a harem is, the greatest thing ever, and be honest, guys, I've lived amongst women all my life, and the sheer amounts of drama that you would probably have to deal with amongst that crap is no. That's why you have to like it from the anime perspective, because in that world, in the fantasy world, they like you for you, not for what you do. So, I don't want to get too much into that, but, if I had to be in any universe like that, I've always said to this day, because I'm sure all of us have, a universe we'd love to be in. I said, put me in Pokemon. You want to know why? Because at least in Pokemon, I'd have a different freaking species that would actually love me for who I am. It wouldn't be this bullcrap where it's I've always said, if there's aliens in the universe, then how I see the human race is in two concepts, yeah? One, we are a confused group of people that has completely botched any kind of coordination that we will ever really have on this planet, you know? Oh, sure, we're not constantly, like, blowing each other to smithereens and raiding each other like this on a grand scale, but it's happening on a manipulative scale, you know? We're still doing it with the finances. America has invaded tons of countries, and yes, it is a freaking invasion. When you can force your little military on their, lots, and they can't do the same to you, that's the invasion. That's, you can't tell me otherwise. It's an invasion. No one can tell me otherwise, you know? If they can do that, right, and essentially there's no problem, there's no issue with it, then yeah, like, I'd say that's a problem. So we're either botched and we will have no way to communicate with each other, or and here's the darker thought for me, the state of humanity, this usury-based species that bases everything on arbitrary concepts such as value and class and stuff like that, that is the constant state of all life in the cosmos. And that right there, that is just insane, dude. That's insane for me to personally think about, to just think that, okay, hold up, dude. You mean to tell me that, let's say that you're an advanced species, you've got faster than light, travel, whatever you're doing, maybe you can terraform planets and stuff like that, and you cocksuckers are still on this bullcrap about, oh, this random freaking mineral has a whole bunch of currency, even though, like, it's based entirely off of what we do for it, because it's entirely based off of the idea that you as an individual cannot survive on your own, air quotes, on your own, without the system, so we constantly need to keep feeding the system, For me, that's really, I like to think about, the former rather than the latter. I like to think that America is, not America, but humanity as a whole is just a very, like, effed up species. Because, like, all the crap that we concern ourselves with, all the stuff that we care about is just ridiculous. Like, to this day, we can't even accept the fact that we don't have to get along on every aspect to, like, at least work together, Military people have to work together, They don't agree on everything. You might have a whole bunch of disagreements going on in that platoon, in that squad, in that formation, but they have to work together. Construction workers have to work together and stuff like that. They don't have to get along all the time, but they have to work together. But humanity as a whole just won't do that. They just won't. They refuse in every aspect. They do. And the thought, like I said, of having to come back to this endlessly, because that's a whole other thing about the reincarnation that people will say, is like, you're usually stuck in this karma loop where you have to break the cycle and then finally do what you're supposed to do, but then at the same time you, like, lose your memories when you come back. So it's like, okay, if I know what I'm supposed to do later as I age, wouldn't you think that it would be wise for you to keep the freaking memories, right? Wouldn't it be wise to keep the memories? That way you know what to do and whatnot. And it would probably be easier for you to freaking succeed in life. But then here's a whole other thing that I have with reincarnation. Who the heck are you? Okay? If you've lived, like, say, thousands of lives, over the millions of years that, like, the species has been around, like, who are you? Who are you really? Are you the caveman? Or are you, whatever the heck you were? Because they'd be saying, oh, sometimes you're like trees, you're freaking cockroaches, insects. I don't freaking know. I'm not 100% savvy on it, but that is the truth, And like I said, in my personal opinion, I'm not shaming anyone who believes in that. And honestly, I'm not really looking for anyone to, like, fully explain it to me. Because, like I said, every time that I have confronted, because I have, like, confronted several Buddhists when it comes down to this, and, Hindus and stuff like that, they'll never admit, even with their own belief, that they wouldn't want to come back to this. Because no one would. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest. If you wanted to come back to this, it's because 9 times out of 10 you would hope and hope that you'd have some kind of control of what would happen. You just hope that you'd at least have some memories, you just know what to do. There's no way that you'd want to just come back to this and just have it be completely random. Especially, like, looking in the state of the world now, like, with the amount of technology you have. Just imagine being born into, like, say, Palestine right now. Right? With the freaking war going on right there. Just imagine being born into that. You know? You're born at the hospital one moment, and then there's a freaking bomb that blows off your arm as a baby, and oh yeah, they saved you, but now you're armless, you know, like, there's no. You'd have to be a masochist. You'd have to just like the amount of pain that you're going to go through in life or something. Because listen, like I said it previously, I'm not one of these people that thinks that life is meaningless because there's pain. I'm not one of those people. There's a lot of people that have this attitude about, oh, life's full of suffering and pain and misery and this, that, and the other, and so it's meaningless. And yet, that same person is probably, you know, behind a keyboard, you know, ripping someone to shreds. And I'm like, well, listen, buddy, if you think that suffering causes meaningless, why are you spreading meaningless to other people by causing them to suffer? You know, so, like, I'm not one of these people that thinks because I have to suffer that life's meaningless. I don't really feel that way, you know. If you do, then whatever, but I don't really think that that's the right way to think about it, because we can cause suffering. So what? Like, are we always supposed to be positive while we can always cause suffering to other things and other people? Come on now. It's just a little bit silly to me. You know? I'm not really trying to make this about, like, any kind of religious aspect or anything. It's just like a concept of reincarnation, you know? Because I'm mainly just talking about that, not to, like, you know, be angry or anything. Like I said, we're still on good terms, and I'm not going to bash someone for a different spiritual belief than I have. But I do have to say that I've always just laughed at the concept of reincarnation, because you could not pay me to come back to this. And every time I've seen memes, you know, in relation to reincarnation, you know, it's always just a whole bunch of people, like, freaking running, like, away from the line, or it's like a whole bunch of, like, dudes, like, whipping out blades of chaos. Because I'll be honest, like, I'd find a way at that point. I would literally just be Kratos. I'd wipe out the Pantheon. So, like, you're not gonna put me back in this thing. You know, you're not doing it. Like, that's not happening. That is not happening. The idea that I'd have to come back to this endlessly for all eternity, you know, like, no, dude. No freaking way. You know? It is just such an absolute joke to think about, just saying, you know what, yeah, even after you die, you're just going to come back to this bullcrap. To do it all over again. Because that's, like, the worst part about it, from what the person explained. It's like you deal with the same people over and over again, but they may be a woman this time, you may be a man this time, or a woman this time, I don't know. But, you know, I might have just made a whole bunch of people mad because I just said man and woman, and I didn't say the other stuff, so, you know, whatever. That's a whole other reason why you might not want to come out of this crap. The sheer insanity going on here. Today's day and age is just, no freaking way, man. I just refuse. I am not dealing with it. I just refuse to, you know. The idea that I'd have to be back here is just dreadful to think about. It just fills me with exasperation, dude. At that point, I'd high-key think that, yeah, you should, like, be one of these transhumanists. Just so you can get out of that crap. Just so you don't have to come back to it, you know? Because at least if you were freaking in a simulation, then you could hopefully control what's happening. But there's issues with that, too, because, again, you know, maybe you pissed someone off real bad. And now if they can control what, you know, is simulated in that computer, I mean, hey, you're AI at that point. You don't have freaking rights, so you never know, you know? But I digress. I would say, personally, you know, there's no amount of money that you can give to me to ever make me want to, like, experience this over and over again. And maybe someone's like, oh, well, I had a good life. And I'm like, yeah, but you had a good life this time, you know, like, if you want to buy into the whole reincarnation. How many bad lives does it take for you to have the good life? You know? Everyone will ideally want to have a good life. And a good life, like I said, for most people isn't even, like, they're not begging for, like, just infinite money and crap like that. Maybe they just want someone to actually freaking love them. You know? Most people are usually chasing love in some capacity. Now, I'm not even talking about, like, romantic love. You know, unfortunately, a lot of people chase that because it's so romanticized. Like, romance is romanticized to a high degree. You know? But most people are usually just chasing love. Like, no one loves them, really. Their family sees them as a utility. Their friends use them and stuff like that. And so, for the most part in their lives, they don't have anyone that actually really cares about them. And so, if they could really just have, maybe one dude, two dudes, or whoever, just a circle of people that actually care, I'm sure that for those people, that is a good life. Just having a really good circle of people that just really hunker down and they're with you through thick and thin, I'm sure that for them that's a good life. I'm dead arse, I'm dead arse. And you don't usually get that. You don't, dude. And it's a shame. But that's just the way that this world is, and that's all the more reason why I say, listen, the idea that I'd have to come back to this, no, dude, there's no way. No way. You'd have to force me. I'd go Kratos at that point. At that, no way. Something to think about, I guess, But, like I said, I don't really buy into that. I don't buy into that. I do believe in the afterlife, but I don't know about coming back to this bullcrap. I got no intentions. Wherever I am, whether I'm freaking floating in space or, wherever I am, I'm staying there. I'm not coming back to this crap. I am not. No way. I have no intention on ever coming back to this. I'm not. It's weird. It's weird to think about, It is weird to think about. But, as I said, again, I don't, bash anyone who feels differently. Maybe some people, if you are listening, and say, oh, well, I would want to come back. And give me a reason why. Because, again, I'm not one of these people saying that life's meaningless because of suffering. Not by a long shot. But it's just the absolute stupid decisions made by our species on a consecutive basis that you have to suffer for. Make no mistakes about it. Some cocksucker in a political position is making your life objectively worse, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, the stuff that you can do about it, it's not going to be pleasant, and so most people don't want to go that way. Hint, hint. So they're just making your life awful, and then if they get, a different person, then the same person does the same thing, because, all they're really doing is buying into the whole, who has the control, and the people who have the control are the people who have the money. So, yeah. We don't have the freaking money. So, yeah, I don't know. The idea that I'm just supposed to be here, constantly getting played for the rest of my life, then to die, and then come back here, and you get played for the rest of my life, and just, no. That's an absolute joke. So, I'm good on that. I think I'll pass. But I'm going to go ahead and just leave this back here because, like I said, this isn't really me ripping on anyone. This isn't really me needing to vent about something seriously. This is kind of just me, just kind of, I guess, stroking the conversation. Or stoking the conversation. I don't know. Pause. I would like to know someone's thoughts if they are here, but like I said, I'm mainly screaming into the void. But it's fine. I don't really need anyone to listen to me. Because this is mainly therapeutic. I do this for me. If it helps someone else, then that's good, but, I'd sooner literally talk to myself in a mirror than go to a psychiatrist or a therapist or something, because, God, is it corrupt these days. It's insane. So, I'll leave it here. Thank you all for listening. God bless, and I'll see you next time.